Hi guys, and welcome to the Women's Health Summit, where you're gaining clarity so you can lead with confidence and finally turn your passion into profit. I'm Laura Sherrill, a high-performance women's health coach and the founder of Balanced Bombshells, and today I'm here with Rosie Rees, who is the creator of Yoni Pleasure Palace, the founder of Women's Nude Yoga, and one of Australia's leading sex and relationship coaches. She shows women how feeling good in your skin, preferably nude, is the key to self-acceptance, healing body image, and creating lasting relationships. Welcome, Rosie. We're so excited to have you here.
Thank you so much for having me. It's such an honor.
I feel like we have so much to talk about, and I'm sure the women watching have so many questions about your work. So first, why don't you start by telling us how you got started in your business and why?
I've always had a feeling that I would break some taboos and break some stigmas along the way. So it was about 7 years ago. I was actually working in recruitment in a finance job in Sydney. And I just found myself in such a low, like I was in a toxic relationship. I was drinking wine and smoking cigarettes every day just to get through the day. I felt very disconnected to my sexuality. I was going to the gym every day and still putting on weight. Like I was just in a really yucky spot in my life. And I remember I was lying on the lounge room floor, I was crying, and my best friend asked me, she's like, Rosie, if you could do anything with your life with zero fear and just go and do it, what would you do? And I was like, I just want to be a sex therapist. And I'd never, ever owned that dream, because I had so much sexual shame, and I'd been brought up in quite a strict Catholic school system and upbringing. I just didn't think that was possible. And so literally from that day on, I made every single decision towards that dream and towards that goal. And I literally it was very eat, pray, love, Laura. It was like, I quit my job, went to India, became a yoga teacher, went to Bali, had a sexual experience at a workshop, a spiritual sexual experience with the Jade egg, and literally came back to Australia and was like, right, this is my mission. I need to, I wasn't just happy teaching yoga. I wanted to get naked and teach something that hasn't been taught before.
Right.
I have my own body image issues. So when I started doing my own naked yoga practice in my bedroom, I realized how much insecurities and body image issues I had. And so while I was healing myself of those by being really present with my body and kind of accepting and embracing myself as I was, I had this really loud and clear meditation come through saying, Rosie, you need to teach this for women, in a group of women. Imagine the power of doing it in a group, because the breakthroughs I was having on my own were huge. And, anything you do in a group collective environment is always magnified. Literally within the space of a couple of months, I launched Yoni Pleasure Palace and I launched Nude Yoga with Rosie. And literally I've sold out every single workshop ever since. And it's been about 7-8 years now.
Oh my gosh. I love that too. I just love connecting with women who listen to that part of them that's telling them something super scary and uncomfortable. And you're like, I don't know what this is yet, but I feel like if I don't do it, I'm going to be miserable. And most people don't listen to that nudge. So it's just really exciting to see what happens on the other side when you do.
It was very scary. And I just quit my corporate job and I didn't want to go back to that. It was just the rat race and it was making me so unhappy and unhealthy. And I was like, there has to be another way. I feel like I'm wasted potential. I have a lot of courage. I didn't have a lot of confidence. And I always say to people, you don't need confidence to start a business or to start your dream. You literally just need a tiny pinch of courage and just fucking go for it. Because since doing what I've done, and it was very scary to be able to come out to my parents and be like, Mom, Dad, I'm going to teach naked yoga and I'm going to sell crystal dildos for my living. That was scary, and I was scared of what the media was going to say. But luckily, I think when something's aligned to your heart, people get it, and it resonates and it lands. And so I've had nothing but success since that, following my heart.
But you also do it in such a nice, uplifting way. It's meant for women to feel empowered versus I think some messages around sex are very shameful for women. So your message is the exact opposite. And I think what women are looking for. So you sell sex toys, right? And then I'm sure you tell people how to use them and work with them either with themselves or their partner.
Yeah, so it was funny. When I became a relationship coach, I started a website and I was writing blogs like every week. And I started a shop section on my website. And I had a whole range of vibrators that I was ready to sell because I was so into vibrators. Vibrators were like, you know, they helped me have an orgasm, my first orgasm with myself when I was 19. And so I was really, really excited to share this with women. And then when I went to Bali in 2014 and went to this incredible Jade egg workshop, which helped, you know, connect women with their bodies, but also connect with this little precious green stone egg. And I put this egg inside of me and I had this, I can't even really explain it and put it into words properly, but it was like this awakening. It was this reconnection to myself. It was putting something in my body that wasn't needing to get anything or give anything to somebody else. It was just purely reconnecting to my body. Like, yes, it helps to strengthen the pelvic floor, but really at its essence, it helps women reconnect. And that's what happened to me. And so I came home to where I'm from in Perth, and I was like, I feel like I don't want to sell vibrators anymore. I actually quit my vibrator. It's been 7 years now since I've touched a vibrator, and I have better orgasms now. I have deeper orgasms, much longer orgasms. It's not just the genital sneeze. And it started from wearing my egg just for a couple of hours a day to help resensitize internally. I think a lot of women think it's just the clit that gives you pleasure, but I've always found that internal pleasure has been the most pleasurable thing for me. And so I thought, okay, there's no stone or crystal or glass dildos out there that I really like. So I just started designing sex toys, and one thing led to another. And I think now we have like 67 products on our website.
Oh my gosh. I love that. And it's just so funny where your journey takes you too, because you're like, well, selfishly, like I'm really into this. And then you just keep going, like following your passion in your heart. And then it's like, well, other people also want this too. But like most of us don't know how to talk about it. And then, so you also coach women as well. Either do you do it where like you're just helping them with themselves, or is it usually when they're with their partner, or maybe when they're ready to find that person and they can realize they've got a lot of blocks going
You know, it's definitely changed over the years. It's funny, you attract what you are. So when I was single, I would attract a lot of single women and help them learn to self-love and to self-pleasure and to really embrace being single. Because I feel like there's this stigma on, oh, if you're single, you're broken, or if you're not married or with a partner, what's wrong with you? And it's actually, being single is the most empowering,
on. Right.
independent experience, right? Recently, because I've been in a relationship now with a woman for 2 years, I find that I said this to my partner the other day, I was like, you know, the last 5 sessions I've had with women have all been women wanting to actually be in a relationship with a woman, but are in a relationship with a man, and don't know how to, not necessarily come out, because I never did a big coming out thing. It was just that I fell in love with a woman. I felt like, yeah, it doesn't relate. Love doesn't have a gender. So yeah, I find that I'm helping coaching women find their sexual orientation and being okay with that and being comfortable with whatever it is that they want to be, rather than what they think they need to be.
Right.
Because often we have like for me personally anyway, I grew up thinking it wasn't okay to be with a woman. So I just like blocked that out. Even though I was very attracted to women, I just never went there because I didn't think I could.
Right.
So it's just helping women open up their minds and their hearts and their yonis.
And it's just so interesting how like your business grows and evolves when you do. I'm reading Untamed right now by Glennon Doyle, who talks, I don't know if you've heard about that book. She lives in the States.
I've heard of her, and I would love to read that book. Yeah.
So it's very much about like her talking through her process of how she was married to a man for years, had 3 children, but she's falling in love with a woman. And how does she disrupt her family's life? How does she really claim who she is and what she wants? And, you know, puts herself first to show her children how to live a happy life. And like some things change. And, you know, it was just, you'd probably really like that book, because it, like everything you're talking about for your message right now goes into what she's talking about in the book.
Yeah, wow. Well, it's not easy to turn around and be like, actually, I want to be with a woman. It's challenging for everyone involved. Like we were both my partner and I were both in relationships with men. She was married to a man with a baby. So certainly wasn't convenient. It wasn't ideal. And,
Right.
you know, your parents have to get their head around it as well. And it's like people have an idea of who you are, and you're breaking through all these barriers and these perceptions of what people think who people think you are. But you've got to, at the end of the day, you've got to follow your heart.
Yeah. And I feel like women right now, like there's never been a better time to be a woman, because like we're all kind of going through that journey wherever we are in life. And like, I think what women are learning is like, there's always going to be like another lesson around the corner. So it's not like, okay, I get through this lesson and then life's going to be great and fine. It's like, no, how do I like get used to being uncomfortable and challenging myself and growing, working on myself internally, opening myself up, being vulnerable, like all the things we're scared of. So I just love the work you do, because you do it on so many different levels. What kind of inner work do you notice women usually have to take when they're like, I'm just imagining women come to you when they're feeling like really stuck. They're like in a point where they're like, something's just not clicking and I can't figure it out. And I know you do a lot of inner work. So what does that usually look like when they're needing to kind of dive inward?
I feel like I validate women a lot who haven't been validated in their pain. So a lot of women also come to me if they have a really low libido, or they're not feeling the spark with their partner anymore, or something's going on sexually and they haven't, or even with their body image as well. And I hold a really safe space for women to be able to just like really go deep. Like, what are they actually not feeling, allowing themselves to feel? So like one of the first things that I'll do with them is get them to actually cup their yoni. And when I say yoni, if you don't know what that means, it's an ancient Indian Sanskrit word for vagina. It means sacred temple or source of life. So I'll get them to literally cup their yoni. And for some women, that is just like the most vulnerable thing they've done with themselves, you know, that day or that ever for some women. And getting them to actually like listen to what that part of their body and that part of their wisdom has to say. Like, I think we're very accustomed to just think with our mind and our brain, our intellect, and that this part of our body, this head part of our body, is overdeveloped, right? And our heart, we also think with our heart, feel with our heart, especially in relationships. But in particular, we don't really tap into the wisdom of our womb and our yoni. And so I drop women into this space pretty quickly. And I find that this was my journey. I was very masculine. I was do, working, hustling, like in that corporate job. And for me, my journey's been coming into my feminine, which I feel like is literally dropping out of the head and dropping down, definitely through the heart. The heart is a huge part of the work that I do, but really embodying the womb and the yoni and listening to her. Like, our yoni has so much wisdom. She will tell you when she's pissed off. She will tell you that she doesn't want to be with her partner anymore, or that there's something that she hasn't faced, you know. And so sometimes it does mean a bit of trauma comes up, but it's comes up to be released. So yeah, it's definitely diving deep.
So it's, to me, because I honestly, I have not done that work. So I'm sitting here and I'm like, wow, I do a lot of heart work. I connect with the womb, but I was like, man, I clearly need to go deeper. You know what I mean? So it sounds like it's just breaking down the levels of a woman's intuition and going, and it's like clearly so many different parts of her. And I just feel like just listening to you speak, I'm like, I hope the women in here just like hear your energy too, because like there needs to be more women who understand the feminine aspect of our lives, because I feel like we're kind of like stuck in this very masculine driven world. Like, I absolutely was in that space too. And my life got so much better when I connected with the feminine and really balanced my energy centers out. And I'm like, why doesn't anyone talk to us about this? Like, we just don't know. We think we're supposed to do and achieve everything all at once, when we're actually more successful, more powerful when we connect with the other parts of us.
And we're so used to just tuning it out, or like, oh, I got my period again, or you know, that we're just very disconnected from the belly button down. And I love really reconnecting women with their pussy, with their yoni, with their womb, and listening to her, you know, because I think that the more we can listen to, because we've got 3 centers, we've got 7 chakras in our body, but 3 main centers is the animal or the base, the heart, and the head. And when we really drop down into that Shakti feminine center, we start to move differently. We start to radiate differently. Like even for some women, I'll just guide them to do a few little pelvic floor squeezes. I call them pleasure pulses. And it's just like just dropping down into the base of their body and doing a squeeze and a release and a squeeze and a release. Literally just gets a bit more blood flowing down there. It gets them a bit more grounded and embodied in their body. And a woman who's embodied is fucking beautiful.
Yeah.
It doesn't, I really don't believe beauty and confidence is a physical, like what you look like. It's literally how you feel and how you carry yourself and how embodied you are. And being embodied is embodying your yoni as well. And just, even just for some women, it's like, just for a few minutes, put a song on that really gets you into that space and start moving from your hips, from your pelvis, and get really grounded. Like the pelvis is the foundation of the body. And when we're really grounded and juicy and, you know, present in that space, honestly, you do carry yourself through your day completely different.
Right. And I think people around you notice, like they're like, you feel like you haven't changed, but it's like people can just, they're responding to you differently because you're more relaxed. Like I feel like we're very defensive, like our bodies get very tight. So like we definitely have to make sure that we're relaxing and like grounding down. And I feel like that's such a great aspect to like remind women of.
Yeah. And you know, where there's this glorification of the tight vagina in, you know, from men and from porn, and actually a tight vagina creates painful sex. And a tight vagina is usually because women are so literally uptight and stressed, and there's tension in the body, and they're sucking their tummy in all the time to look skinnier, and it's having this detrimental effect on everything. And so sometimes I even work with women on relaxing the jaw and releasing, when we soften and relax the teeth away from each other and the tongue off the roof of the mouth and loosening the jaw, almost instantaneously the pelvis relaxes, the yoni, the muscles, the vagina, everything softens. And we don't need to be uptight and like have our shit together all the time. Like we can just really loosen a little. Yeah.
Right. Because I feel like women, like when we're like stuck on something, we always ask like everyone else around us what we should do. And it's like, you already know what you should do. You either just don't agree with it because it's your, like, you know that there's going to be consequences to the changes that you're going to make, and you're scared to make them, even though it's going to make you happier. But like seeking outside opinion based on how we should live our life or what we should do, like it just makes us even tighter, more angry, more resentful. And like, so it's just really nice to be like, no, let's turn like inward and like, what is your body telling you? Because I feel like our bodies in so many different ways talk to us.
Exactly. And like, ask your yoni.
Yeah.
Like just cup your hand, see what she has to say. It's honestly so interesting. But you can ask her, what do you want to eat today? Like literally our yoni thrives on certain foods, or like she might need more water. She asked her, do you like the way your partner makes love to you, or do you need him or her to ask for permission to enter you? Like really like go deep with your yoni. It's like literally going within.
Do you want to tell us a little bit more about your nude yoga? Because I've honestly never heard of it before, and I was like, oh, I have so many questions for her on how this goes. Because I grew up in a very conservative household, so like even in middle school, and even now, like I will change in like the bathroom if I'm at the gym locker room, and it's not because like I'm ashamed. It's more of like I almost feel disrespectful, like to other women for I don't know. It's just like the way I was raised, where it was like, that's just not what you do. So it's been like ingrained like since childhood. So I'm just so curious of like how you get women to be open to doing nude yoga. And is it just women, or is it men and women?
It's just women.
Okay.
And I'm definitely the woman at the gym who's just strutting around naked. I don't care what anyone thinks of me. And if anything, I sometimes think, you know, if I'm naked in the gym or wherever I am, maybe that's going to help another woman, like maybe see some cellulite on my ass and think, oh, cool, she has it. Or maybe she'll see a stretch mark on my breast and think, oh, okay, cool. Like she's normal. Because I think from hiding our bodies and hiding our nudity, what it's actually done is create a separation, create mystery, create self-judgment, or like, oh, and this is why porn is so prolific, because we finally get to see naked people, but what we're seeing are, I don't want to say fake, but like definitely usually one type of perfection, and that makes women feel even more insecure about their body. And particularly even on Instagram, we just see this really photoshopped version of beauty. And what I'm really passionate about is women seeing, and I'm going to say real women because all women are real, but all shapes, all sizes, all breasts, all colors, all yonis, like all different backgrounds, ages. And what happens, it's actually so magical. The space that I do it in is always, we're in a circle. So rather than being in rows like a typical yoga class, we're in a circle and we witness each other. We actually see what all different shapes and sizes and colors and backgrounds look like. And there's something magical that happens where women are like, okay, like this is what women actually look like. And she's got this and she's got, okay, I feel a bit more comfortable in my skin now. And we share, it's not just a yoga class, we actually share about our journey and our body image. And when we hear other stories about our struggles, or, you know, maybe what we struggle to accept about ourselves, it actually becomes easier to accept those parts. Like when we're actually heard and felt and seen and witnessed in that vulnerability, we start to feel more comfortable in our being. And I've seen women from all backgrounds, like mums who've just had a baby who hate their body, and they've literally left the 3-hour class really like in love with their body again. And even women who've got maybe no breasts, like they're flat chested, who never felt feminine in their bodies. And I've talked about what I call big tit energy. You don't need big tits to have big tit energy. And then all of a sudden they're like, the shoulders are back and they're like rocking their bodies again. And that's what I love. I love seeing women just really claim and own their bodies, and not really buying into the beauty industry, and walking, like literally go to a nude beach, or like, you know, get naked at the beach or at the change room, and just start normalizing naked bodies. Like, it doesn't mean it's a sexual thing. I think that's the other thing that I find when we start to just get naked doing yoga, for example, or going bushwalking or whatever. It starts to desexualize nudity. A female naked body is not necessarily a sexual thing, unless obviously you're having sex, like, and that's not always the case.
Well, I think it's like our media, they've over sexualized women too. Like if you go to a movie, you're more likely to see a woman naked than a man. Like it's very rare that you see a man naked, but like you always see a woman. So I feel like we're grown up with these images of like, that's part of what a woman is for, kind of mentality. And it's like, no, like, yeah. So I just love, I honestly have never heard of this concept before, and I just thought it was so beautiful. When you got started doing this, did you have anyone come to the class that you knew from like your prior life?
Oh my God, everyone. Like literally cousins, friends. Yeah. Like,
and you're like, let it all hang out.
Friends, moms. Yeah. Like literally, because I tour around Australia teaching these workshops, and I get like literally so many old childhood friends who just thinks it's amazing. And it's really, I find that it's a catalyst for a lot of women. They'll come to the workshop. Some women will come multiple times. I've had women literally come hundreds of times to my classes. Other people come and it's just a bit of a ticking off a bucket list thing, but they literally change whatever it is that they come for. And I get women to come and think about what they want to let go. Because when they're taking off their robe at the start, so we don't all just walk in naked, we have a ceremony. What do you want to let go of during this experience? Because that's what's really powerful. And they'll often like leave and quit their job, or leave and break up with a boyfriend that they weren't really that into. And these huge catalyst things sort of happen in their life.
That's so awesome. So is a 3-hour class?
Yep, it's a 3-hour class.
And when you travel to different cities, is it where like you're just there for a day for the 3-hour class and then the next day you go somewhere else? Or do you stay like for a weekend and do multiple workshops?
Sometimes I have to do multiple workshops. They sell out really quickly, and I will try and align it with other work that I'm doing in that state as well.
Okay.
It's since I've got a puppy dog and I've got a stepdaughter now, and a bit of a more grounded life, I don't travel as much, but I've actually trained up 8 Naked Awakening teacher facilitators. So yeah, there's more women.
So they can do it. Yeah. I just love hearing how other women like set up their business too, because there's so many different avenues. So it's like you have products, you have services, and then you have like actual in-person workshops where you travel and go around. And I love that because like you've broken off in so many different avenues as it fits with your brand and your message. And I feel like that's so beautiful because some women are like, well, I have this idea, but I don't know what I'm going to do with it. And it's like, you didn't either. You just started with one idea and you're like, I'm just going to go with it. And then look how it broke off and what happens now.
Well, I was so happy coaching. I literally thought I'd be a coach for the rest of my life and just a coach. And then I thought, I'll do some coaching with some yoga. And so I went and got the yoga qualification. And then it was like, all of a sudden my coaching clients tapered off. And I was like, oh my God, I do not want to go back to that corporate job. And so in moments of kind of when things take a turn for the worse, actually that's a time you think it's an obstacle, but actually it's like telling you, it's a little clue, go and try this. And so it's from losing a lot of my clients tapering off, I launched the product side of the business. So I think it's important for women and men, obviously, who are listening to this, like it's important to have different income streams just in case one does take a turn. But also for your own, you need to challenge yourself. Like a lot of women are terrified of going around teaching workshops, but I think it's so important to be in front of your people, of your followers.
Get that feedback.
People need to feel your energy in the flesh. And I'll have women who will say, I've been following you, Rosie, for years. It's so nice to finally feel your energy and be in the presence of you. So I think it is important to not just do online stuff, challenge yourself and do in the flesh workshops. Even if like 3 people turn up, still do it. Practice it's important.
Yeah. I did a workshop recently. It was like a few months ago, and it was about, so I teach women's health. Have you heard of the concept of cycle syncing, where we match like our lifestyle to our cycle? So I was teaching women about that, and like they're just sitting in the circle and they're talking about their, how they feel before and during their period. There's just like definitely women opening up about shame and just guilt. And they're like, I thought I was the only one who felt like this. And like every single woman in the room like felt that way. And they left and like they were thanking me. And I was just like, I feel like you guys gave me so much more. Like just to be around people and not online, I think is so powerful. And like it just bonds women. Do you remember hearing about red tents like way back in generations where women would have their periods and they'd go in a tent together and they would menstruate together and basically just have this nice bonding experience? Like we are so, like it is to our core that in order for our health to be really good and in order for us to be really happy, we need those like deep connections with women. And so I just love that you literally break down every single barrier for women to feel like happy and confident. And it's just like, look, you can't hide at all in this workshop.
And I've even done a Yoni egg nude yoga workshop, and that was like, woo, that really blew the roof off. But it's true, like that's what we do. We come together in this circle, naked, raw, and it is just life-changing. And it's like, how has no one ever done this before? This is profound and life-changing for women. And literally I've even had women conceive on the night of nude yoga.
Because their bodies are probably
and they're open, and they're like, they've literally just removed. A lot of women will say they feel lighter.
Yes.
And so even if you're watching this, and obviously we're all in COVID at the moment, but like do your own naked yoga practice at home or naked dancing and witness yourself in front of the mirror. I did all of this 7 years ago on my own in my bedroom, and it just worked for me. It was my tool to awakening. And so, and then gradually you'll want to do it more and do it with other people.
When you were doing this for yourself, were you ever like, I'm going to host workshops with other women and do this like all the time? Or did that come later?
No, it was literally within a week or so of me doing my own nude yoga. It was so loud and clear. Like my intuition was like nagging me. I don't know if you ever have the feeling where there's like an idea that's kind of floating around the ether, and that it's looking at you, and you're like, oh, do I have to teach this? Is really scary. No one else is doing this. Am I going to fall on my face? Is anyone going to turn up to my workshops? And then, I just plucked it out, and I was like, you know what, I'm going to run with this one. This one's true to my heart. And if I'm, confident in what I'm doing, because people want certainty. People crave leaders who are certain, and I was certain that this was helping me, and it was,
Right.
you know, and if I can help myself, then I can help other women.
Yeah. Because I'm just like trying to imagine like you going through this process on your own, and like where do those ideas come from where you finally run with them? Because usually when a thought like that comes up, we're more quick to like push it down because it's like uncomfortable and like nobody does that. Like, who am I to do that? And so it's just so awesome to be able to hear like the other side of like, yeah, I just decided to go for it, and like, look what
Yeah, I
happened.
don't overthink things too much.
Yeah.
Like if I have an idea in my business, and I'm always up leveling and challenging myself. Like this year I launched something called the Golden Yoni membership, and it's a membership group. It's a private Facebook group. And it's only $7.50 a week. But that was really, for me to launch a membership, it was like, oh, I've got to show up every week. Oh
Yeah.
God, I don't know, you know, because I am very cyclical. We all are.
Yes.
And
Yep.
like, oh, what if I don't feel like teaching or sharing a video this week because I'm bleeding? But you know what? I've launched it anyway, and it's honestly the most wonderful, amazing experience. And it actually makes me show up, not just for them, for
Right.
yourself. Like you said, when you hold your own workshop, you're actually receiving just as much as the people who are coming. You're receiving their input and their energy as well. And so it's actually beautiful, a beautiful experience.
Yeah. I always have to remind myself of that, like before a call or before doing a video or something. I'll always be like, oh, like I don't really feel like it. But then once you show up and you do it, like you're just so happy. The other people are really happy. Like it's just like an energy exchange. So you have to like remind yourself of that.
Yeah.
So did you notice when you went through this process, because I know you have a post on your blog about getting rid of menstrual cramps and using all of your work to kind of move through the pain that many women feel on a monthly basis.
Mm.
Do you want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, I was on the pill for 7 years. And when I came off the pill, my womb was pissed off at me. She was really angry. And, you know, in fact, I tried to go back on the pill for a week, and I had 2 urinary tract infections in that week. And for me, I was and this was just after I discovered the Jade egg. And so I was very in tune with my Yoni's wisdom. And I took that as, okay, clearly, you know, I'm not meant to be on the pill. And I haven't been on the pill since. And so after that, listen, it didn't get any better for probably 2 years. I had the worst periods of my life, and I was very tempted to go and get an IUD or a copper, you know, a Marina or the pill again. But I decided to just like literally breathe through it. And every single month, you know, sometimes I wouldn't even take painkillers. Like I would actually just feel my womb. I felt like I was carrying trauma in there from not my trauma, but something that was not mine. Like it was my mother's or my grandmother's. And
Yeah,
so
we
I
carry
just,
like ancestral trauma.
absolutely. And I felt that in my
Mm.
bones, like it was not mine. So I decided to just really be with my womb and let myself bleed and actually embrace it. And like some months I was face down on the ground, like literally crying into Mother Earth. And after a while, hang on, my little puppy's just got his turkey, which is making a bad noise. Yeah, and after using my Yoni egg quite consistently and using the Yoni steam as well, my bleeds became a lot more harmonious and kind of just less ragey. I woke up with my period this morning.
Yeah.
And it feels love. Like I love the feeling. I love the kind of, because it brings you out of your mind and into your body. You feel really grounded, and I kind of like the sensation of bleeding now.
Yeah, it's a very cleansing process, which nobody like tells us. Like we're taught to like be afraid of it or be shameful or wish it away. But I used to have experiences like you too, and now I do a lot with like food and trying to understand inflammation in the body too. And now I like don't get cramps, and I still get surprised. I'm like waiting for them to happen, but it's just a very different experience. And like I used to have really low energy during my menstrual phase, and now sometimes I'm like, am I ovulating on my period, because my energy is really high, and I'm confused because that's so unlike what it used to be and what we're taught it's supposed to be, which is really interesting. So did you notice a shift in your energy too as your body started like relieving the trauma and like moving past all of that like extra weight?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, I don't feel nearly as much pain. Even sometimes I feel aroused, and that was never, I was never feeling those feelings at all.
Right.
So I think just using the yoni egg quite consistently, steaming my yoni, and just literally just meditating with her a bit more often. Where energy goes, where attention goes, energy flows. So when there is more life force energy down there, it's going to be happier. It's going to feel healthier. Your hormones are going to be more balanced.
Right.
But if you're disconnected and you're kind of like not in touch with that, and you just take a pill to, forget it, she's going to be a bit anxious. She's going to feel neglected. She's going to feel abandoned.
Right.
And it's a part of our body. So, it's just kind of shedding the shame.
Yeah.
Like most girls I know, most friends I know were not educated, weren't even prepared for their period. They didn't even know it was coming. And same with me. Like I remember getting my period at 13 and I was like, what is this?
Right.
Whereas we should be having menstruation parties for girls. Like,
I think
that's my vision.
I was like, I feel like I'm going to hear about that, like menstruation parties for girls. Because cramps, one of the reasons why cramps happen is because we have too much blood stagnation in the uterus. So like all the work that you're doing is helping women like release more of that blood flow. And like when our bodies are so tight, we basically are blocking blood from like going to our uterus, which obviously is like a very important part. And I think when women understand the blood circulation part, that helps with their cramps, which is what like the yoni steam does. So I'm curious, like, do you have any specific things that you do for the yoni steam? Because like I've tried it a few times, but I probably need to up like the herbs. And so I don't know if you have any like tricks on that.
Yeah, we sell a beautiful botanical organic yoni steam blend, and it comes in like little tea bags, so you can just plunk it in. And I just, honestly, it's one of the most meditative experiences. I bought a vintage toilet, so it's this old wooden box basically with a bowl in the middle, and I just sit on it and I put my skirt or blanket over me, and it's like all about relaxing and imagining like you're yawning the yoni open. It swells the yoni, and it just, honestly, it feels so incredibly cleansing. And even if you just do it once a month, I mean, they do say a couple times a month would be great, but and especially if you do have issues like thrush or bacterial vaginosis or fibroids or cysts, it can help to soften them and release them from the body. It is an ancient practice. So it's just something that I feel we are all reconnecting to what we used to do. I mean, even if you think about the yoni egg, like back 2,000 to 5,000 years ago, they didn't have surgeries to literally, lift up a woman's bowel, bladder, or uterus, or her pelvic floor to strengthen that part of their body or to keep it, intact. And so obviously they thought out of the box. Okay, we'll put a weight inside the vagina. The vagina is simply a muscle. When it is toned, like it is strengthened a little bit more, obviously it's going to be able to hold up the bowel, the bladder, and the uterus better than perhaps if you didn't have a strong pelvic floor.
Yeah, I think it's so interesting. I honestly had never heard of it before until like you and I started talking, which I think is so cool. And I know you have a free gift for everybody about how they can choose the right yoni egg for them. Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so I have an ebook called How to Choose Your Yoni Egg, and it takes you through 3 steps that will help you find out which yoni egg is best for you. So we have so many different, you can probably see behind me, I've got like amethyst, jade, rose quartz, moonstone, all these different types that are completely safe to use internally inside the body. There are certain crystals that should not be used. So just be aware, don't go to your local crystal shop and pick up some random crystal, because some are dyed, some have imperfections. Like we quality check everything. They have a little drilled hole at the top. Well, not all of them. There's undrilled eggs as well. But we sell an eco corn floss, which is biodegradable, that you can tie through the middle of the hole, and pull it out really easily. So yeah, I think it's $10, but if you use the code Yoni Love, it'll be free for you guys.
Which is so nice of you to share with everybody. And I feel like every woman needs to understand what this is and put it into practice. And I love the the attention to like detail and quality that you have for your work. I feel like, I don't want to say like men don't always do that, but like a woman, like, I don't know, I can just tell you put so much thought and effort into your work, and it shows.
Thank you so much. And likewise. Yeah.
But it's been so fun chatting with you today. Thank you so much for sharing your wisdom, introducing us to a whole other part of women's health that I think many women don't understand yet. And I hope like really dive into and bring to other women, because worldwide, like we just need more of this energy and connection.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me.